Well, we're here. Chat. Let me just say this. Your boy is missing some teeth. I'm not even joking with y'all. It's been a while. I got a appointment coming up to discuss repairing some of my missing teeth. So yeah, but let me just get right to the point where I'm gonna go. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So the thing is, and we all noticed this, and this has been like the going issue with Marvel for a while, is that Marvel at this point it's more effective with more players playing DPS, and the reason for your matches being mostly instant DPS is because it's almost like 34 DPS players in the game. I could be wrong about that, but there's about a solid 34. I'm not sure, but there's more DPSs than tanks in support, and I feel like that there is the reason why you see an influx of DPS players just locking and instant locking when they get in quick play, and why you don't get the full benefit of playing with players that actually playing roles that they can really get comfortable with. It's just everyone wants to be a soldier or a warrior in the game, and then just being a support or a tank. Now, that being the case, you can't forget, like the second option would be is a support player, because people feel like that's the most easiest position in the game that can really help really get you over to the high ranks, right? Because that's the most easiest position to really learn and gravitate with. Whereas tanks is like the third choice that people pick, because tanks is just really the front line, and that requires you to be in the front line to take on damage, to take on dives and all types of stuff. So you're more likely the first person to get the hit. So you're getting hit as a tank. Now, that being the reason, every time you get into a comp, it's always one tank, 3 DPSs, 2 supports. And then in quick play, it's like all 5 DPS or all 4 DPS with 2 supports or 1 support. It's just that there's a lot of players who are just doing DPS, and then at the same time, there are other players who want to play DPS, but when they try to play DPS, it's almost like they either going to be forced to swap because everyone else wants to play DPS, and then that just puts you in the position where you just gotta learn that role. Which if you already gravitate, you already learned that one role, you should be fine, right? So I'm just saying, like, when I get into quick play, I'm usually trying to learn each role. So when I get in for like each day and spend like at least 5 hours, it's like one role. Like, there's a character that I really want to grind and really figure out. So it'll be like, all right, support. Let me just figure out how to play Loki. All right, let me learn Loki. Okay, whatever. But let me figure out how to play him. And then it's like, all right, let me figure out how to play Luna. Let me figure out how to play Invisible Woman. And then it's like that. And then it's rotated to the next following week. It's like, let me learn how to play Phoenix. Let me learn how to play Punisher or Hela. Characters that are hit skins. You know, sometimes I want to play like Wolverine and learn how to be a die player, because sometimes having a good die player could be a big benefit when you mix and match your DPS lineup. So that would be a great fucking benefit, right? And then you have tanks. So it's like, I mostly focus on tanks and supports before I do DPS, because I think tanks are really needed. So I will focus on Emma. Emma is probably one of my main tanks that I play if I want to push and try to really push their line back. Strange. If I want to learn Strange, I play Strange. The Dane. Who else? Groot. If I want to block and shield walls, it's pretty much what Groot does. It just, blocks and slows them down. So whenever they try to push, it's like block the wall, block them, slow them down, and also block them from getting healed. So it's just pretty much what I use with Groot. Then I'm learning Thor. So Thor is probably one of my favorite characters at the moment, because I'm really learning him. And then it's Angela, who is just a diving fucking tank. And then here's the thing. Here's a surprising thing. I'm really enjoying Penny. Penny is somebody that I really want to grasp so hard, because it would really be a benefit to learn Penny, because if someone's playing Rocket or you just playing Penny by yourself. And especially when you're playing defense, you just want to really just use her in a way that she can really slow down the paces of dive and all that. And sometimes I just like to throw a web at Wanda every once in a while, so I just love doing that. But like I said, it's just like me. I just want to be a full flex. I just want to be a flex player, and that's my whole journey. I've been playing this game for over a year, and the whole thing is I want to be a journeyman on this game. I really want to play every position. That if there's a spot that needs to be filled, let me just join that. Let me just play that. So I've been doing that a lot. Also on DPS, I've been really enjoying Wanda. Wanda's probably my main. So she's one of my main characters on DPS. So I just been really enjoying that. But I'm just saying from the standpoint why you just run into a lot of DPS players, it's because it's just an influx of DPS players. And it's just, when you look at the lineup, it's like barely a minimum in support and tanks. I think where they failed at as the company, they failed to try to balance the amount of players that you should have when they first launch. I think they should have just kept it even instead of just having more DPS than less supports and less tanks. And that's where the issue lies, why so many people are running to insta-lock DPS players, where it's like there's other needs that needs to be filled in instead of you just locking in. Like I said, there are people who are locking support over tank, and then that leaves that spot open. And then no one wants to touch tank. I swear to God, no one wants to touch tank when you see it. It's like, y'all don't want to play tank? You want to know how to play tank? Somebody can fill in and play tank. And that's the thing. It's really weird that no one wants to touch tank. So when we in matches where we need a reliable, solid tank, we lose. When we in matches, our DPSs don't do well. When we in matches, the supports are not really supporting. So it's just, this is the mix of ways that you're getting in freaking comps. It's just, you get what you get. So in a matter of players playing the game and stuff like that, it's just, when it comes to the particular roles that are very important, people skip one role and figure someone is going to play that instead of just feeling like they could be a fill-in. But not everyone wants to be a fill-in, which is understandable. I want to really put that emphasis on anybody, because everybody don't want to just pick up and say, all right, let me just go here, let me go here. I truly get that. But I think in reality, in order for you to even get to where you want to be at, and of course, it requires a lot of skills, a lot of patience. But in order for you to get where you want to be, you got to be able to just fill in whenever it's needed. Like, if you want to be a true fill-in to the point where you can literally do as much to carry a team to a victory or carry yourself to a high rank, I think you just have to be a fill-in. A fill-in can be a really, really important position to play in the game. But then again, people don't want to do that, so it's just kind of obvious. But it's just how the game came out and what it was designed to be, when it was just mostly DPS and then you see less of supports and less of tanks. It was almost like they couldn't figure out how they're going to do this. And then after that, they just started, putting more DPS, even though they'll add a tank or support, more DPS. I feel like the problem with Marvel Rivals, they have to just at least stop putting more DPSs and work on, branching out more DPS, like more support players, as well as more tank players. Because if we put more emphasis on more tank and more and support players, a lot of players will play other fucking characters or other roles that they feel more comfortable with the character that's in them. So when you just only cater to DPS and there are particular freaking characters that they know to the teeth that they love, they're going to jump on DPS, like Daredevil. When Daredevil and Blade came out, everyone wanted to be DPS. I guarantee you, when Deadpool comes out, everyone wants to be fucking Deadpool. You don't put emphasis on the positions that are really needed in this game, which is why you see a lot of turnover as of ranks being at what it is now. It's because when you put so much emphasis on DPS, everyone forget that there are supports and tanks out there. So everyone's now just want to focus on DPS players. I truly think that if there's more of a balance with having enough supports and enough tanks, given the fact that you already got an overloaded DPS fucking menu, I think that will really help out with the game. That would make the game stable. Of course, the casuals are going to jump into the game and play DPS, which that's another story, because I was going to bring that up too, because that's going to be something I really want to talk about. I really want to talk about that shit. But I think what happens is you bring back the casuals who want to play a character that they're familiar with, and then they just start playing casual, and then they go right into ranks, and then boom, there goes everyone ranks. Because one casual said, hey, we just played this character, get familiar with it, I don't know what I'm doing, and it really sabotages everyone else's fucking ranks. So I truly believe at this point they need to really put emphasis on adding more to the support and tank positions, because you're almost saturating the DPS position to the team. And at this point, everyone's just gonna play fucking DPS. If there's a DPS player with a heal kit that can heal a whole team, I guarantee you everyone's gonna play some DPS and say, hey, this is a fucking duel as of being a support / DPS player. I swear to goodness, if they come up with a character like that, that's a wrap for support. But I do think that they're really going over this as they are getting prepared for the next year, to really figure out how to balance everything. So I truly believe that Marvel Rivals in the company, what they're planning to do is really take a deep dive look at how they can balance everything out to give a fair, competition. I still, to this day, think that there needs to be a skill-based system. I know people hate that, but I think that needs to be added. Also, I think people need to start being creative instead of just playing fucking triple sword. That's another video I want to do. So, with that being it, that's all, chat. That's all I have to say. I just think that's the main reason why you're just dealing with a lot of DPS. Too many DPS players that you can pick, and that is why you're just dealing with. At the end of the day, I can't do nothing. You can't do nothing. You just gotta play. So that's how I look.